14 is this weekend, and a day before the event, because I procrastinate, I'll be giving you my takes and locks for this card. I'll be building you a nice little underdog card or underdog bet, and yeah, this is a stacked card. I'm super pumped ever since the press conference where Yair and fucking Diego Lopez were shouting gibberish at each other, and fucking Bryce Mitchell just continues to be Bryce Mitchell. Let's just lock in and hop right into it. So the first fight of the night, Nora Canole versus Haley Cowan. I don't think you should tune into this fight. It will be a Nora Canole decision. Haley Cowan in the bantamweight women's division is getting her ranking shot after losing two straight. They're giving her a ranking shot after her losing two straight. I don't know who the fuck they think Nora Canole is, this crazy star who needs to build her resume. Like, I don't understand why Nora Canole keeps on getting these fucking layups. She's terrible. She's only shown once that she can like knock someone out. She had like one I think it was a body shot TKO, which was good, but you can tell that it's not going to be a consistent thing with her. So yeah, I'm picking Nora Canole. Don't watch this fight. Marco Tulio versus Trayshawn Gore, the next fight. Marco Tulio is going to win this. I think it was Lucas Tracy picked Trayshawn Gore. I mean, that's just retarded. Trayshawn Gore, he's a really good guillotiner. If you shoot on him, you're probably going to get guillotined. And I think that's his strong suit. Thank God, though, that Marco Tulio won't he won't shoot for a takedown at all this fight. Marco Tulio is just going to push the pace on him. I'm really high on him. He's really good output. He's really strong for the division, and I just think Trayshawn Gore, he's a little undersized. I know he has the experience, but Marco Tulio, to be honest, he fights like he knows what he's doing. It's not like he's one of these raw prospects who's needing to come up and fight a ton of unranked guys before his ranking shot. No, I feel like he's already ready for the big league. So, yeah, Marco Tulio by decision. Mitch Raposo versus Sumer Darji. I'm going Sumer Darji. Mitch Raposo, the thing about Mitch Raposo, he's just the average flyweight where you're good at everything and you don't really have a hole in your game, but you're not exceptional at anything. So he's just going to probably make it close. He'll probably land a few low kicks. Honestly, when I watch Mitch Raposo fight, let me clear my throat real quick. I sound like a smoker who's been killing his lungs for the past 10 years. Quick intermission. Still don't know how to edit. So yeah, Sumer Darji, I just think he knows how to keep it at range better than Mitch Raposo. Mitch Raposo is kind of a one-trick pony, and I think Sumer Darji is underrated. I know he was getting rocked by Matt Schnell, I believe. No, he was rocking Matt Schnell before he lost. Yeah, losing to Matt Schnell is a terrible look, but the thing is, I just think he got unlucky, gassed out, and that's just a fight game. Sumer Darji, he made it close with Charles Johnson. Mitch Raposo hasn't showed us anything. I know he fought against Andre Lima, who is good, but the split decision was kind of stupid. I don't know why any judge would ever think that Mitch Raposo won that fight. It was really clear, 29-28. And yeah, I feel like I spent too much time on Mitch Raposo, so let's move on. Michael Olajaychek versus Cedricus Dumas now. I know you probably don't know this. I love Cedricus Dumas. I just feel like he's the ultimate youngin UFC fighter. But the thing is, when you watch him fight, you expect him to fight like a mixture of Bobby Green and fucking, I don't know, like every youngin you've ever watched. But he really isn't a striker. He's a wrestler at heart. Cedricus Dumas, he's kind of just, he's well rounded, I guess. He can strike if he absolutely needs to. But the thing is, he's a specialty grappler, but his grappling isn't that good. So it's he really doesn't have anything. He's gotten pretty solid UFC matchups for himself. He beat Josh Fremd. He beat I forgot the other guy he beat, but he hasn't really fought the type of competition of Michael Olajaychek, who actually has KO power, who actually makes it dangerous. Michael, he dropped Kevin Holland. I can't really think of anything else he does, but if you're a longtime UFC viewer, you know that Michael Olajaychek is a dog, will bring the fight to him. And I just think Cedricus Dumas is getting these close decisions over Josh Fremd types. And those people are nowhere near the skill level of Michael Olajaychek. So, yeah, I'm going Michael here. I'm going to go clear my throat again, second time. I know, unprofessional, guys, but it has to be done. Okay, we're moving on. Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa. Now, The thing is, Darren Elkins is just. The thing is, he's gritty. The thing about Darren Elkins, or just any people with like a lot of CT built up, like a Clay Guida, Darren Elkins, those type of people, is that they're very tough, and that's all they have right now. Darren Elkins will get his ass beat and then win the third round and just come back. His claim to fame was a third round victory. Oh, I forgot the specific guy, but his claim to fame was having a comeback where he was getting absolutely dominated, like bloodied, like demolished, and then randomly in the third round he hit a head kick that like absolutely slumped the guy. But at this point he's like 40 years old, and Julian Erosa is coming off wins against actual solid UFC competition. So this is probably one of the easiest picks possible. I think Julian Erosa, whatever significant strike number he's at, you should do the higher, because Darren Elkins is straight up a punching bag who will just continue to go forward with the CTA-ridden brain. So, yeah, Julian Erosa, and I think it's a clear decision where he lands a lot. So, I don't know, whatever betting app you're doing, just do the over on strikes. Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller. I have Chase Hooper, obviously. Jim Miller, I mean, he's just getting older at this point. He's coming off of like a bunch of losses where he's getting absolutely demolished. Bobby Green was absolutely battering him. If there was another round to that fight, Jim Miller's 1,000,000% getting finished. Yeah, I just think after all this time fighting, now you're going up against Chase Hooper, surging contender with like amazing grappling. I can see, I can envision what's going to happen in this fight, even the finish. Like, I know it's going to be a close kickboxing match where Chase Hooper's getting definitely the upper hand in it. And then Jim Miller's going to shoot randomly in the first or second round. And once he shoots, I know Chase Hooper will either triangle or guillotine him. I just have it so, it's just pictured in my mind. I foresee it happening. Like, I don't know. I think Chase Hooper's submission is pretty clear. And yeah, you've probably heard this breakdown a million times, so let me just move on. Bernard Jandiroba versus Yao Jiao Nan. I'm going to go Yao Jiao Nan. I know Bernard Jandiroba is a crazy grappler. I know Yan just lost to Zhang Weili, but I feel like Zhang Weili is a different type of grappler than Bernard Jandiroba. I feel like getting the experience of fighting Zhang Weili in a five-rounder especially is going to give her help to handle Bernard Jandiroba, who I know she has really strong grappling, but when she's on the feet, she really has nothing. So if it stays on the feet, Yang Jiao Nan's going to have way more success than anyone really thinks. And yeah, I think it's easy to just go with the girl that looks like a fucking gremlin and like is the most genetically fucked up. But I feel like Yao Jiao Nan, you know, I'm going to put on my fedora and talk linguistics about this WMMA fight on the prelims. But yeah, Yang Jiao Nan, I just feel like she has better striking. I feel like she's had the experience to learn how to deal with Verna. I'm not going to repeat myself. You get it. Yang Jiao Nan by decision. Let's move on. Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. I'm going to go with Sean Woodson. The thing is, it's just Sean Woodson's 6'4". I know Dan Ige's good. I was watching a lot of like Dan Ige's fights recently because Josh Emmett was fighting. I rewatched the Dan Ige versus Josh Emmett. I was rewatching the Lerone Murphy versus Dan Ige. I was watching a lot of Dan Ige fights. And the thing about Dan Ige, he's solid. Jesus, what happened? Okay. He's solid. He like, I don't know, his overhands are good and his boxing's always crisp. Like he's always going to be in it in the striking department because he has really good counters. But the thing is, when you're fighting someone who's 6'4", Dan Ige is going to try to counter and he's just going to whiff because this guy's 6'4". He's on the back foot the entire time. When you watch Sean Woodson fight, it is the most frustrating thing you've ever watched because it's just a tit-for-tat battle. I remember the Sean Woodson-Alex Caceres fight. I'm still mad about that. Alex Caceres won that fight. But Sean Woodson, it's just tit-for-tat, him always on the back foot. He's not even going to get in arm's reach of Dan Ige this fight. He's just going to hit him with low kicks from far. He's going to hit him with 1-2 shots. And Dan Ige, I know he's good at countering and he is good of just the ducking to the right or ducking to the left and then hitting you with a shot over whatever punch you did. But I just feel like no matter what he tries, he won't even be able to reach Sean Woodson at his height of 5'7". And I was kind of watching Dan Ige. Dan Ige is good, but if he's not landing that one KO blow in the first round, he's kind of mid. I mean, to be honest, starts losing against like Josh Emmett in the striking department. And they're pretty much the same fighter, and they both have granite chins. And you could just kind of see that Dan Ige wasn't the level of striker. Like, I know he's gonna, I know, like, I'm getting into the nitty gritty here. I'm just talking about him compared to other UFC fighters. I just don't think he's as technical as like a lot of these top featherweights, and I think a lot of the time he relies on his toughness, relies on just the perfect counter, and Sean Woodson will not give him the perfect counter. So I'm gonna go Sean Woodson by decision. Sean Woodson does not have power in his hands, so yeah, we're good on a decision here. So Dominic Reyes, Nikita Krylov. I'm getting a little crazy here. If a lot of people are picking Bryce Mitchell to win against all odds, I'm picking Dominic Reyes. And I know that's just, I know it's silliness to some, but hear me out. Nikita Krylov, I was rewatching a lot of his fights. Ryan Spann, he had that good submission, and he also fought Volkan Ozdemir, who, that was a really good win in retrospect. He was rocking him after getting rocked himself. But the thing is, I was watching Nikita Krylov. I think he's really good. I think he's really well-rounded. But the thing is, I don't know. I feel like Dominic Reyes on what he does best. I don't know. I know Dominic Reyes is simple with his left hand, with his left body kick, with his combos. But the thing is, Dominic Reyes, I just feel what he does best at. I don't know. I feel like his specialty is what's going to carry him in his fight. The thing is, Nikita Krylov is well-rounded in a bunch of things. Dominic Reyes has extremely fast hands. You kind of know what combo's coming in. But the thing is, Nikita Krylov keeps his chin in the air the entire time. I think Dominic Reyes has faster hands than Nikita Krylov. I think even though he's simple, I think he'll be able to land punches. And Nikita Krylov is not this technical striker who's going to make Dominic Reyes pay if he slips up a bit and overextends. I think Nikita Krylov, he's a pretty wild fighter. You see him a lot with these like 1-2 head kick combinations. He opens himself a lot to counters. And I just feel like Dominic Reyes having faster hands, just being really good at a specific thing with his 1-2s, with his body kicks. I think that'll just, I don't know, I just envision a Dominic Reyes first round KO where Nikita Krylov is feeling himself. He thinks he hurt Dominic Reyes a little bit. He goes in, and then Dominic Reyes lays him out with one shot. And you might be saying, Ryan Spann couldn't do that. And honestly, I was seeing a lot more success from Ryan Spann than I expected to when rewatching that fight. Nikita Krylov is smart. He's always doing the right reads. He's always putting it to the best position for him. So he got him in a triangle after Ryan Spann stupidly sprinted in there. Like, it looked like he was trying to get into that triangle. But I don't know. I was just rewatching Nikita Krylov's fights. I saw Volkan Ozdemir crack him. I know Volkan Ozdemir is really technical and a different fighter than Dominic Reyes, but I don't know. I just have a feeling Dominic Reyes, he's been active coming off of 2 wins. He's feeling good about himself. Nikita Krylov, it's been like fucking 2 years or something. I don't know. I have a feeling, dude. And I know it's a weird pick, and it's probably not going to work out, but I don't know. Dominic Reyes, I feel like just his fast hands will get this one done. I just see Nikita Krylov trying a 1-2 head kick or something, trying some like wild shit that would usually work, but I feel like Dominic Reyes is too smart. Like, people forget, man, that this guy, like, he was beating John Jones. Like, this guy's still a monster. He still has the fight IQ. I know he's pretty simple, but he still makes it work with what he's simple at. You know what I'm saying. Let's just move on. The people's main event. I'm so excited for this fucking fight, bro. I know all of you are, but dude, Gene Silva, I'm sorry to burst everyone's bubble, but Gene Silva, his one takedown that he was gotten against Charles Jourdain, he got taken down actually twice. Charles Jourdain did not hold him down, like MMA Guru will tell you. It was the end of the round. Charles Jourdain was just panic shooting. He got it, and then it was 5 seconds left in the round. Of course, Gene Silva's not going to explode up and try. To be honest, like, the over-exaggeration over that Charles Jourdain fight is crazy to me. Bryce Mitchell is going to get knocked out. Bryce Mitchell is a primarily grappler who's getting knocked out by Josh Emmett, who I know is powerful, but he's really simple. And Bryce Mitchell is now facing an absolute fucking chess match of a striking match with Gene Silva. And the only reason you're picking Bryce Mitchell in this matchup is because you believe Gene Silva has no clue what he's doing on the floor. And you're relying on Tim Welch's word over Yeah, I actually saw Gene Silva one time in a training video, and he was getting held down. So that means if you're taking Tim Welch's word for a prediction, I like that's just a sign of things. I don't know. I just feel like it's a bad sign when you're just one of your arguments is Tim Welch. I don't know. Bryce Mitchell, pretty simple on the feet. And I just think Gene Silva knows what Bryce Mitchell is trying to do. I think Gene Silva will be able to just outstrength because Gene Silva is big for this division as well. I saw him today. He was struggling to make weight. I don't know. I just feel like Bryce Mitchell's a simpleton on the feet who's getting knocked out by Josh Emmett. I know it was the first shot and it was perfect placement, unlucky, but it's still he's still not where he needs to be on the feet to have a competitive shot against Gene Silva. And I just believe in Gene Silva enough to train wrestling and grappling and like making sure he has the underhooks down, making sure he has his takedown defense down. I don't know. I envision a second round TKO for Gene Silva. And I think everyone's going to be disappointed. Everyone's going to go into it rooting for Bryce Mitchell. But I don't know. I like Gene Silva. I mean, I was watching this TikTok edit, like him, like his backstory about his mom and shit. Like, I don't know. Gene Silva gets a bad rap. Like, I know, like, he's been barking and shit and hyping up this fight, but, like, it's not like he's been saying anything, like, too crazy about Bryce. He's just been saying, fuck Bryce Mitchell. And, like, I don't agree with, he's just going with the herd, you know? He's just saying, I don't agree with anyone or anything this guy says, and he's barking. So, I don't know. I like Gene Silva. I think it's going to be a clear victory. I'm actually pretty confident about this because I don't know. I don't really hold the Charles Jourdain, him getting held down for 10 seconds, and Tim Welch's word as like prominent points, you know? So Gene Silva, I'm going with logic here, is going to win. We got Yair versus Patricio Pitbull. I think this is a clear Yair Rodriguez decision. Patricio Pitbull, I was rewatching a lot of his fights. And I heard an MMA guru point that kind of stuck with me as I was watching Patricio Pitbull. The thing about Pitbull is that he's so used to these Bellator 5 round events because he's the only person worth watching in Bellator that he's used to kind of the calm, not really do anything round one, and then maybe round two go and do something, and then round three maybe take another back seat, just let this guy gas himself out, and then take over round 4 and 5. And I was rewatching a lot of Patricio's fights, and he is extremely tentative. To be honest, like Patricio is good, and like when he is like actually doing stuff and using like his striking, he is good. Like he's technical. I don't know. He's a lot of hooks, but he uses it well. But the thing is, I just don't think he's able to use that out. Like he's not gonna push the pace in this fight. I just feel like he'll be very tentative. I think he'll probably just march forward Yair, but not throw anything really. And I just feel like Yair, this is a perfect matchup for him to have kind of a punching bag, shorter, stockier guy in front of him, for him to just like up kick, for him to low kick. And I don't know, I could see a world where Patricio Pitbull actually gets takedowns and holds down Yair. I'm really not high on Yair Rodriguez's takedown defense, but I don't know. I was rewatching Patricio, and I know it's a different promotion. You don't really know how motivated he was because it is Bellator who really gives a shit, but I don't know. I feel like when I watched him, I never really saw him open up too much unless it was a Michael Chandler fight. And you kind of need to with Michael Chandler because he's a fucking marauder. So, yeah, I'm going Yair. I feel like it's a clear 29-28. I could see Patricio maybe getting the third round, maybe getting a takedown, pushing the pace. But, yeah, Yair, I feel like it's a clear victory. So, yeah, let's move on. Michael Chandler, Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett's getting this one done. I just can't confidently pick Michael Chandler in a top 10 fight. The thing about Michael Chandler, he's trying to throw away the fight actively as he's fighting. Like I don't know. Whenever I watch him fight, Michael Chandler is good, and there is a chance that he can knock someone out. But that chance has when was the last time you seen Michael Chandler flatline someone? I know he rocked Charles Oliveira. I know he rocked Dustin Poirier. But the only time Michael Chandler has ever flatlined someone was Dan Hooker in his debut. And I just think Paddy Pimblett, he's not going to play the same silly stuff. Paddy Pimblett said in a press conference yesterday that he's not going to play into Michael Chandler's style like all the other fighters. And I think that's really that's kind of sums up my prediction on this fight. Paddy Pimblett is going to stay on the outside like he usually does. He's going to try to piece up Michael Chandler. I think he's going to have a lot of success because Michael Chandler has a lot of the same entries. And because of Michael Chandler has a lot of the same entries, I feel like Patty has been training to find the back during these wild flurries that Michael Chandler does. I don't know. I have a feeling Patty Pimblett is going to be able to manipulate a position that Michael Chandler does or an entry to find the back or find a position on the floor where he can get to work and get a submission. And until then, I think Patty's going to do well on the feet. I think Michael Chandler, he is good, but recently I've seen him a little more tentative. Like, I know the Charles Oliveira fight, he went crazy in round 5 because he had to, but I don't know. I was just seeing him a lot more careful, and even though he was throwing, he wasn't just charging in and making it predictable on when he's going to come in and when his opponent can just, like, lay out a shot. So, I don't know. I just feel like Patty has a lot more ways of winning this fight. He has this submission ability. I feel like he's super slick on the feet. I feel like not a lot of people give him credit on his footwork and just him being on the outside. His chin is in the air sometimes, but I feel like he's kind of cleaned that up a little bit. It really hasn't been all the same since the Jared Gordon fight. And yeah, Patty Pimblett, I feel like it's just a clear win for him. I'm not picking Michael Chandler because whenever you do pick him, it genuinely feels like you're watching someone trying to sabotage his own odds in the fight. I just want to have fun and pick Patty Pimblett. So, yeah, I'm picking Patty. Let's move on. Diego Lopez, Volkanovski. I've been torn all week about this fight, to be honest. Like, I can just totally see a world where Volkanovski, who's right now jacked, like, have you seen him? He's been eating, like, apparently no bad foods, like, no alcohol, and now he has, like, an actual six-pack. And for Volkanovski, that's rare. And I don't know, it's making me nervous, but every single logical point is pointing towards Diego Lopez in this fight. And it's just because he's a power puncher who's a gigantic featherweight who's able to push a pace really fast. And that's Volkanovski's nightmare. I want you to name every single fighter that Volk fought that was fast, who had knockout ability. Chad Mendes, he rocked him. I know Volkanovski came back, but Diego Lopez is a way more technical and I feel like way better fighter. He fought Islam Makhachev, who I'd say is in the same category. And I know he made it close that first fight, but I just feel like the second fight showed that against bigger opponents, he was able to push the pace. I feel like Volkanovski kind of whimpers a little bit. I know he was on short notice, but I don't know. Another thing, Ilia Topuria, I know he's not a bigger guy, but just a shorter guy with stockier power, was still able to find the mark with Volkanovski. And the thing is, I just feel like Diego Lopez, with his size and frame and explosivity, I think he's going to be able to find a shot way quicker than Ilia Topuria. I could imagine Volkanovski in the first round just dancing around like, oh yeah, I got you with that one. And then Diego Lopez just randomly hits him with the right hand, and then it's all over. The thing is, picking someone off of 3 KO losses is just, it's hard to do, man, you know? And I don't know, I can totally envision a Volkanovski win. I think after the first 2 rounds, it's going to be scary for Diego Lopez. But I don't know, I feel Diego Lopez, prime of his career, he's as confident as he ever will be. And the thing about Volk is that I know he's good, and I know he can bring some power. I know he kind of knocked out Chang Sung-jun, which I'm using knocked out with abbreviations there because that was a standing count. It was just pity stoppage. But Volk doesn't have any, like, power to come back at Diego Lopez to really, like, halter his pace, you know? Like, I feel like Volk, he's really good at that tit for tat, you know, inside low kick. Just hit you with not really combos, but just like single shots and then backing up and then keeping it technically perfect. And I don't know, I just feel like Diego Lopez just needs one shot to, like, I don't know, take him out. So yeah, that's my prediction for UFC 314. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe, all that jazz. And yeah, subscribe. See you later.